Are you?
Yeah, a little bit. We are now on the Facebook group and in some other channels. So, hi, I'm Pip, Seymour Digital Media, and that's.
Greg from Original 72 Creative.
And today we're talking about local SEO and all the new things because this is just such a fun topic. So, if you're joining us today, say hi. And if you have some experience with local SEO or you don't, let us know because we want to know what you know. Right. So, Greg, I
Yes.
I've kind of started to really specialize in local SEO. To be honest, it's probably my favorite part of SEO. Well, we do e-commerce and local, but I have to say I think local is right now my favorite.
This means you're going to give up a lot of tips today.
Oh, maybe, maybe yes. Uh, I'm sure
We
there's
can all
lots of
hope.
tips. So before we got on the call, y'all, we I was talking to Greg about this weird thing we found in the wild. So we're gonna dive right in to the meat and potatoes of the talk, but then we'll maybe talk about what local SEO is after. But Greg, I was just showing you that inside Google My Business there's, I don't know if I showed you my screen. I didn't, did I?
No,
No.
but it's okay. I trust that it's there since I haven't seen it yet.
Right.
But
So we signed in. So we run a bunch of Google My Business accounts, and we signed in. When you sign into Google My Business, you're usually signed in as your Gmail, right? And so I was signed in one way, and Phelan was signed in with a business email, and the business email showed more information than the personal email. So you get different options inside Google My Business if you sign in with a business email address. Does that make sense?
it's yeah, it totally makes sense.
It's weird.
Why do you think they would do that, or is there a reason why Gmail users
I,
that own property don't see those extra things? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. But do you remember? I mean, there have been some times where you have to have a business email account to sign in. You can't just sign in to something as a Gmail. So maybe that's it.
Hmm.
But it's kind of neat. So the thing we're seeing is that there are phone call availability now too. You can turn on phone call tracking and you can track phone calls, missed calls. It's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. Uh, that's so Google My Business is one half of local SEO in my opinion,
Hmm.
right? And so we're always in there, and you can build out huge strategies now using Google My Business and all the functionality. You're
Um,
stoked about doing that, aren't you?
Sorry.
I said you're totally stoked about doing that.
I'm really curious about this phone thing you're talking about, because I have questions. Because doing ads, there was always the option to display and track calls,
Hmm.
also, right, for from ads. And the thing I hated always about that is, and business owners that I worked with who were doing ads hated about it, was that it's not their actual phone number. So a lot of them were like, I don't want to display a different number. So a lot of them just didn't want to do that. So I'm curious if this new option you're talking about for calls in Google My Business
Mm.
works the same way, or does it use your own phone number and somehow have the ability to track what people are when people are clicking and calling
Yeah,
and so on and so forth?
that's what it's
Yeah. Do you know?
literally tracking. It's so inside Google My Business. There's a place I understand, like with the ads, I should say. I completely understand being a little nervous and not liking that phone number thing
Hmm.
that you often have to do if you're going to track the calls with Google Ads. Inside Google My Business, you can actually put your Google Ads phone number as well. I think you can have other multiple phone numbers, but it needs to be on the website. So I don't really know. I mean, like for the needing to not track so much about people and then being able to track phone numbers and missed calls. To me, it's kind of strange. Hey, Jessica's here. She says no local SEO for me, but she wanted to say hi. Hi, buddy. Jessica's doing something really neat. Soon that she's got to self promote in our group, a Christmas thing. So Jessica, you should definitely post that on the weekend.
Yeah.
And back to local SEO. I don't know is the answer.
Okay. A quick note on Jessica's comment there that she doesn't do SEO for herself because she's basically targeting anybody anywhere across North America, Canada, and so on and so forth. For people like that, do you feel also doing some type of local would be beneficial? Or if your business truly is anywhere global, should you forget about local and have a completely different strategy?
Well, interesting. If you're not like, so if you're not local but you serve local, then for sure have one. But if you're not local and you don't have an office in the local area, you can't
Mm-hmm.
you can't really do a local SEO strategy. I mean, some businesses have an issue with that, right? Because they'll be like satellites of, they'll serve a whole bunch of different cities. So
Mm-hmm.
Google My Business says in the write up that you don't want to be more than 2 hours away. So all the areas that you're going to target inside Google My Business are going to be like within 2 hours, and you only get 20. So,
Right.
um, but yeah, it's I don't know, it's so much fun in there. I mean, if you like creating strategies, and trying to basically mimic what's going on the website. To be honest, Google My Business is now more trusted probably than a client's website. Not that I'm saying build a website in Google My Business because it's terrible in there.
I think it shows the importance of making sure your My Business listing is up to date and also updated regularly with some statuses or some images or that kind of a thing because it is still really a lead generator that will get you found so that people can get the information about your business. And if it's simple information about just learning a little bit about you or finding your hours or being able to contact you or get your location because they're going to come visit, it works perfectly for all of that stuff. But if they need more information, obviously they're going to click over to your website and get everything about you. So
Yeah, well, your website's more of the, like, yeah, your Google My Business is like your ad. Like, hey, click on me. These are my things and my stuff. And then you go more in depth on your website, right?
the lead generator,
Yeah, yeah. It's
the
actually
local lead generator.
local, and it's 50% of SEO now. So, or local SEO. But that's what makes it more fun because it's kind of like a social platform. And
Mm-hmm.
so it keeps changing, right? And it's fast moving. I mean, I think like, how long ago did Google My Business start? Not even 5 years, I think.
It's been a while, and it's gone through a couple of iterations, right? It's been called a couple of things. Google, um,
It was
I almost can't even remember. Was it Google
Google
Local
Plus.
Business, or it had other names before it became My
It's a
Business?
collaboration of more than one of Google's products. Like I think they stuffed, what was it, Google Plus and some other thing they had together. I don't know.
I think there's a couple of features of Google Plus that they've worked into it, yeah, but it's not Google Plus. It's not a social networking
It's
platform.
not a social networking. It's but you treat it like a Facebook, like with with posting strategy, right?
Yeah.
To keep your clients updated. So it's like Google's version of social, which is just updating people and not that, like, you can follow people on Google My Business, um, but I don't understand why. Like,
Well, I would assume the following will help in getting the any statuses or images that you share on your My Business listing somehow. It will get in front of the people who are following your business in some way. I mean, really, we're talking about Google. So Google has so many different products, and so like all Android phones or are basically Google, right?
Mhm.
So I get my Google feed, my Google Now feed. When I swipe to the right, I have like news and information. It's quite possible that things could show up there for you as something in your area or relating to things that you businesses you might follow. I don't know that for a fact, but I assume if there's some type of a
Yeah,
business,
that would.
there is somewhere that they could implant your business information to users who are using Google products.
It's also really important that if you, so inside Google My Business, you can turn on not only the phone stuff, but messaging. So people can text message you. But if you miss a message, they will turn it off.
Hmm.
And then you will have to go manually turn it back on because you have to pay more attention to it. Right. So it's kind of, yeah, it's, I think they're going to treat it like you're a hub of where you're getting feedback from your clients and you're able to update your clients about your standing, right? So that's where you update hours and so I know, so cool in there. So you're going to use it more now, right?
Well, I go in there every once in a while because I mean nothing really changes too much with my business, website after website
World changes
type of thing.
around,
So
the world changes around you, right? So
yeah, yeah.
um
So no, that what I was getting at was that I don't go in there very often because in my business I'm just like cranking out websites here and there, and there's not much change in my business, so there's not a ton to go to the my business list. Like my hours never change, my phone number never changes.
mm,
My status would always be like did another website,
mm.
like
Well, that is a good status. Got another great review. Did another website, but it's not. I mean, it. So strategy for us is hard in there, but for other local businesses like like anyone in trades or any local business with a storefront, because they can get pictures done throughout their day where they're going. Real estate agents can put images on there, right, and upload them. Like there's a lot you can do. You could sell now. Actually, you can connect your shopping to it's good part of your knowledge panel. So if you're e-commerce, there's a connection where you can see products in there. It's getting out of control. But I don't know. It's something to we're noticing things like, not that this is a good idea, but if you look at the hours when you search something, 70% of searches are now local, right?
mhm.
And so if you look at the local results, the map pack, whenever you're searching after hours, look, there'll always be one that says 24 hours. It'll be on there. So does that mean it's smarter to say your 24 hours?
Yeah, I think
Message.
was someone talking about that just on Geek Speak at some point recently, or maybe we were just talking offline and you mentioned
Yeah,
something
yeah.
about
Bailey
that.
and I have been talking about it. Yeah, we were.
Yeah, and I found that to be interesting. The or you know what? I might have read an article. It's quite possible that about the hour saying open 24 hours
True.
because they I guess Google does take into consideration the businesses that they're trying to suggest to you based on when you are actually suggesting them because typically people are looking for businesses that are open
Yeah,
currently, right? So if you're not open after 5 p.m. and someone does a search at 6 p.m.,
and they
then it's quite possible that someone else's listing will come up above yours in the Google local searches because Google knows you're closed at the moment. And
yeah,
I just found that to be an interesting. I never thought really about that.
yeah. Oh, it's so interesting, the Google My Business now. So there's some automations happening. You'll see when you go to leave a review, sometimes there'll be the option for like, on time, or it'll kind of categorize like professional, all these things, and you can just click buttons and also leave a text review, right? So it's trying to automate some of the stuff. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be more and more important. And the funny thing about that is, a few years ago, it was so name, address, phone number, putting that around the web as local listing links, basically, uh, is a big part of local SEO. And it used to be that everything had to be exact, right? Because if road was spelt out and road was, just RD, Google sometimes would consider that two businesses. So Google's getting savvier, and so NAP is becoming less important. Still important, but not as like sticky and narrow and finding duplicates and fixing duplicates. Not that you shouldn't do that, because you should, but it's becoming less important. And now, tattletaling on a business in the area that's not doing the right thing on Google My Business, like their keyword stuffing,
Mm-hmm.
that's where a lot of focus has gone to now. So, which is it? New stuff. See, local SEO, not boring.
No, not at all. Is there, other than the things that we've touched on, what else is new in the world of local? Are you using new techniques or hidden tricks to optimize?
Yeah, we got some. So we build out, right? We actually, like, Google My Business is pretty robust. There's products, there's services you can add, and then there besides the messaging and the calling, the products and the services, and posting and images. So that's four things and four different ways you can use them, or many different ways you can use them. So technically, you want an image strategy, you want a posting strategy, you want a product strategy, and I think your services are quite attached to your categories, right? And your number one category is like, that hasn't changed. The first category you pick is what you generally show up for. So in the
Mm-hmm.
search engine results pages, when you do a search, say you do a search for marketing company, if it says marketing, sometimes it says marketing company in the description, right? So there's a lot of, little things that are changing, like,
So, yeah, sorry, just to go back on that. Are you saying that the categories that you're in should almost mirror the services that at how you list
that's
your
a
services?
that's a really good question. So your categories are, this is might sound strange. Your categories and services are different. However, it looks like your categories can be attached to your service. When you add a new category, sometimes it shows up in the service area. Originally, not everybody had services and products. I'm seeing everybody now have service and products. We use them the same way. We make sure our services kind of match our products. And if we don't have like a physical, like, I don't sell grapes or pens or phones, but I do sell a service, and that service is productized ish, right? So we use in our product section, we have our services, right, listed out. And you can strategize around that, because then when you do that, you actually link your products to different web pages on your site. So much fun, right? It's that, yeah. So it's like, you could build it completely out. So doing kind of, how with Google Ads you would look at a website and you'd, try to figure out how you would organize a campaign. Like, if they had more than one service, would you do more than one campaign? Kind of, that's how you look at Google My Business. It's like, well, what services should I put as products? And what should I do as
Mhm.
services? And then what should be the posts every week?
Yeah, I was actually just about to ask you that question of, so I'm a service-based business, right? I don't really have products to sell. But that doesn't mean that my service is my product. So in this type of a scenario, do you suggest actually filling out some of the, see, I would think I would fill out most of the service stuff and say my services are web design, web development, WordPress, graphic design, so on and so forth. But for services, would you still feel that it would make sense, even though or sorry, for the products, even though I don't have products, to somehow fill those out with similar information to like graphic design as a product?
Yes. I would do that because specifically for graphic design, because you get to have a little picture, right,
Hmm.
in the product area where the services is just text. So, and if you look on, so when you're looking at a knowledge panel or like a Google My Business as a searcher, your services show up as just like little categories, like they're tiny,
Hmm.
but your products have a little picture and they look like a post, only there's you get, they're static, and you get, so they turn into a carousel. Phelan says hello. Hello, Phelan.
Hello, Phelan.
Hello. He was like, "You're talking about Google Analytics today." I'm like, "No, we're not." We switched the
Well,
topic.
that's a good recommendation then, and because I have a feeling that a lot of service based businesses probably fill in maybe their services a little bit, but leave products completely alone. And it sounds like there's an opportunity to really get more information in there by filling out the product section with the types of services that you do, but as a product itself, so that you can get that image in there and get more prominent um, listing with an image and text.
And it's, well, I mean, it's easier to get to something you want. Like you're actually giving Google like, "Hey, this links to that." So that's, saying, "Okay, these things are related, so this is what this thing means." So there's going to be, they say that products aren't a ranking factor, but they have an effect, right? They push down, because at the bottom of the Google My Business you have other businesses, so they push those
Mm-hmm.
down if you fill them out. And it just, I think it gives more to Google and more to the user experience, right? They don't have to go searching in your website. They can quickly scroll through. I mean, it doesn't help with the zero click attribution, which is what this is technically creating, and this is why you have to use Google My Business now.
Mm-hmm.
So zero click being that, now I don't know what percent it is, but a lot of people now go to Google and they don't go anywhere else, which is what Google wants, right? They're kind of envious of Facebook about that. Like, hey, people come, they stay on your site. We want people to stay on ours. So, but I mean, we still just search, find what we need, and then go, right?
All right, so I got a twist in the topic right now.
Why?
Other than Google My Business,
Mm.
what is the first thing you would think of or do that would help your local SEO?
Well, local SEO has three components, right? Proximity, relevance, and trustworthiness. So, proximity, you can't fix it all. But proximity also means location. How close
Mm-hmm.
are they to you? So, maybe in your content, you know, mention location, maybe more than once. Maybe have a strategy to include location information. um, that would be probably the number one thing I would do. And then I definitely do a nap strategy initially. So the thing about SEO is it changes over time. You're going to do different things, find the most pressing things, do those first, and then go down the line, right? So with local
Mm-hmm.
SEO strategy, because Google My Business is 50% of your time should be in there, I think. And then the other would be the on-page SEO stuff, the technical SEO, and the keywords and competitor research. So that's the list. And then, um, I think, well, that would be the list for most people. Fix what's broken, because web developers break stuff.
What?
Yeah, yeah, they do all the time. Crazy.
I do not break anything.
I know. Well, you do fix.
There are some web developers who just do web design and web development and don't know anything about the other stuff. I take pride in at least knowing what not to do as a web developer to screw up SEO. I may not be the SEO guru,
I
but
am.
I know how to not to screw it up.
Well, which is good. Which, what would be great, because you like doing graphic design. It's a great opportunity for you to use your own business as a test subject, and
Hmm.
like make product posts or make products inside Google My Business. That's the other weird thing about Google My Business. You have feels like product posts, products, and then and posts. So you can get
Well,
confused.
a post is more like an update, a weekly update, or
Yeah,
every couple of day update. You put out a post. This is what's going on at
yeah,
my business. The products are filling out the products that your business has,
yeah,
or the services that your business has.
yeah. But you can do a product post.
Yes.
Right. So is that like I got a new product or like I haven't used I actually use just the updates as the posting strategy. We'll use an update. Current update is what
Yeah.
we do.
I see that being really useful, especially seasonally, right? With Thanksgiving coming or Halloween coming up, Thanksgiving coming up, Christmas coming up. Obviously, you want to plug products or services around that time that may be new or popular at that time. So you could post in that time about that product or service. So
Yes. Yes, it's a great avenue. I think which takes us right back to the hours. Because so do you update your hours or do you keep them 24 hours? Google likes when you update them. So right back here, right? Cuz seasonally, I mean the hours get updated, right? Because we're all people are closed on Christmas, and most people are closed on Christmas. I think still, it's what it looks like online. It's fine.
yeah, I think is it Google likes just the fact that you change hours, or do they like the fact that you update saying you're open and or closed on holidays every couple of weeks or month whenever there are holidays? Because people's hours don't typically just change. So why would that be such a big ranking factor for Google to want to see your hours changing all the time?
All I think of is like feed me Seymour, from the plant that
But
people.
Shop of Horrors, pet,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Little Shop of Horrors.
Shop of Horrors. Yeah,
Right? Speaking, because that's kind of seasonal too. Um,
yeah,
but it's the feed me. It's like you want to constantly be letting Google know that you're in business and you're doing stuff, and it's just like the same as freshness factor, right? That's why we all
mhm.
blog, or we should blog. You know, I mean, there's so much content out there, right? You can find you can find anything. So
I
fresh.
mean, I have nothing to base this on, but I would assume of Google your Google My Business listing using it. They're probably designing it to be used properly, and properly would be set your hours,
Mhm.
specify them when they change or during holidays or things.
Yeah.
Make sure they do get updated, but don't update them just for the sake of updating them. But use the posts, products and services categories to also continue to stay relevant, because I don't think Google is just looking at whether or not your hours are changing. I think, like you said before,
Yeah.
it's really engaging and always doing some type of an update to your Google My Business so that they know that it's active and you are in business.
hmm It's so yeah, and the thing is, so one of the things that matters a lot is reviews, even bad ones. Funny
Hmm.
enough, just getting a review is like 100 points, kind of thing. Not that okay, it's not, don't take that as exact. That's just my analogy for reviews bump you up, right? So if local SEO, 50% of it is Google My Business. I'd say 15% is probably attributed to those updates and reviews, right? So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah, we
so interesting.
definitely know reviews are always a big boost for those. And speaking of that, I know we're pretty much out of time, but last question before we wrap: do you have any resources, or do they provide any type of information on what does rank or doesn't rank
Mm.
uh, your business? I know we've gone over a lot, and we say these things help. But do they actually have a document or anything that specifies these things will
They
make the listing better?
Well, yes, they'll tell you what makes the listing better. They'll tell you what are ranking factors, what are not ranking factors. Do you have to pull this information from a lot of different sources? For sure. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're doing testing on different businesses to see what works. So that 24 hours thing is just the newest thing that we're starting to pay attention to. But
Hmm.
because we want to do the right things, being good SEOs, but also we want to use things to our advantage, right? Not in a bad way, just for our clients to get the business, but to do it, try to do it the right way. So
Yeah.
exciting. We'll dig into this again. Greg, we do have to go. What is next week? Oh,
You'd think I know because I just finished the banner.
I know. I was all excited, thinking, Greg,
It looks like next week we are talking about how
how?
to do organic Facebook marketing.
Ooh, ooh.
And I do not know who is in that topic. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure it's not me.
it's Rena. It might be me. That's going to be so fun. So if you're watching us from a spot like YouTube or a business page, just know that we go live in a Facebook group called Cyberpunk Geeks Marketing Mixer, and Greg and I are not business partners. We're just marketing friends because we help each other grow. Because marketing's a group effort, and we're out of here. Greg, say bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.